So in this video, we're going to disassemble the M1 Garand, including the bolt and the trigger group. Now, before we get into this video, I ended up having my camera fail halfway through this and ended up changing cameras. So don't be jarred by the fact that we've got two different looking things here and that the angle and the lighting changes from one time to another. So now that that's out of the way, let's talk about what we're going to need to get this M1 Garand apart. Officially, the only things that you're going to need will be a 30-06 round and either one of these two tools to take the front gas plug off. Now these will do a good job of taking the gas plug off. Also, a really large flathead screwdriver will do that. A screwdriver is also helpful anyway for some other disassembly. This is also a tool that's very helpful for taking the bolts apart, although a wooden dowel or a spent 30-06 cartridge, basically just the brass, will work for that. So just like any firearm, the first thing you do when you do disassembly is check and make sure that you're empty. The first actual step of disassembly is going to be done right here on this. We're going to pull back on this back part of the trigger guard, flip it up, and then raise the trigger assembly out. There's two different types you have on there. You have this one, which is the type that I have, and then you also have the milled trigger guard, which will have an extra loop on it there. That's where you'll need one of these or a round to stick in there to help you pull that back and bring it up, because the milled ones are a little bit thicker and don't pull quite as easy. So we pull back, that goes forward, and that lifts out. We'll take this whole guy apart in just a little bit. The next thing we'll do is get the barreled receiver and the stock apart. We'll basically just grab this here, give that a couple bumps, and that'll just pop right out like so. So we're going to grab this piece right here, pull that forward and up and then out. It's got this spring in it there, which will give it a lot of tension. We're going to take this pin out now. It's designed to where the nose of a 30-06 cartridge will push it out. We go from this side here, push it, then we can grab that and pull it out. Now we'll have pieces that will start pulling out here. These three pieces right there. We'll set those all there. You're also going to have your follower, which will be right down in here, and we'll pull that out. The next thing we'll do is take the op rod itself out. You'll notice that the groove here has this extra little bit right there that's cut out. What you'll do is you'll bring the op rod up to this spot there, pull it back this way, and then it'll go up and out. Up in here somewhere, right there. And now the whole op rod comes out. Now we'll take the bolt out, and you'll notice if you look right here on the receiver that there's some weird little cuts there. Those weird little cuts happen to be the right shape to let the bolt go out. So we line up the bolt, it'll slide out just like that. And there she goes. Now that we're done with the back of it, we're going to go up here to the muzzle end. And this is where we will need one of these tools or the big giant flathead screwdriver. We've got to take the gas plug off that's right there and just simply unscrew that. Then this piece right here will unthread that way. And then that will allow the gas cylinder to simply slide off. And the foregrip comes off right along with it. And now we got all these pieces there. I'm going to set the receiver up here. And we'll start taking these two guys apart. Okay, now we're going to get into the trigger group. The first thing we'll need to make sure we do is we need to have this brought up here, so we need to fire it. Now we don't want this to just slam back onto the back of it here, so we're going to put our thumb over it there. We'll pull the trigger and then kind of let this ride up. And we need to take it apart in this position right here. So now we'll take our handy dandy John Garand approved disassembly tool. We're going to go to this pin right there, and we're going to push that out with this. Now what we'll want to do is make sure we hold down on this while we push that out. Pull that right there. If that doesn't quite get it out, you can use something else to punch it. I actually find these to work really well for this sort of thing. And that'll pop right out like that. Then this spring will come apart there. We'll have the spring, this piece, that piece, all this right there, all those little pieces. Now we got another one that we can push out right here. So once again, we'll take something to push that out. That'll push it out. This will come out nice and easy. This piece here. Get this out, we'll just push that down and that'll pop. Then that'll get out. That piece will come slide off that way. Then we just have the spring right here. Now if we want to take the spring out, we'll need to take something here and push against it there. I find the flathead to be a little better at pushing this out than the cartridge nose. But that'll pop out of place and then that goes. And now the bolt. What we're going to have to watch is that this piece right there is under a lot of spring pressure. The whole time that we're going to do this, we're going to keep our thumb over that. Simplest way to do this is going to be a flathead screwdriver. We're going to put it right there and we're going to push this piece out right there and keep our thumb over that so that that doesn't go flying into orbit. So, thumb over that, put this in here, this will go out. Okay, and there we go, that comes out now. And your firing pin right out the bottom. There's also a little spring right in here that can pull out, if you care to take that out when you're cleaning. And now it's time to get all of this back together. So let's go ahead and start with the bolt. So getting the bolt back together is going to involve making sure that the firing pin doesn't fall out the bottom, pushing this spring back into place, and then pushing that part into there. You can use this tool, either the curved piece there or that part there, to push down on it. This is softer metal than that, so it won't hurt it. You can use a fired 30-06 cartridge. You don't want to use a live one because you do have a firing pin there, and you know that's going to be bad. You could also use a wooden dowel or something. Take the bolt, take the firing pin. Firing pin's going to go in there. It's got this nice slot that it drops right into there. Alright, so make sure you keep the firing pin in its slot. I'm going to put that right there. That would slide in all the way, but we don't want to push it in all the way yet because we want to take this, align the little groove on it properly. We're then going to push down on this with one hand on the spring. We're going to push with our thumb against that there. Try to keep this oriented the proper direction and not lift up on it so that the firing pin stays in its proper spot. Alright, there we go. And it just pops in like that, and she's in there. Trigger group. We're going to start off by putting the spring back in. Now, this part of the spring right here, this loop on it, has a little notch right there it needs to go onto, and then this little crooked bit of it is going to hang out that part right there. So we'll get that out there. So we'll have to fight it back into place with a screwdriver. Pretty much just push it in there until it snaps in. There you go. And it's just going to snap right back into place there, and you'll see when it's in, that'll be out and do its thing right there. Alright, your safety has a little notch right there that lines up with that hole right there. So this will go into its spot there. We'll push down on this and push it into place. And it'll just snap right into place there. You can feel it click back and forth. The trigger guard, basically, it's going to just kind of play with that until you can get the little notch here to go inside there. Just a little bit of playing and it'll eventually go. Of course, that guy will go in there. It's got a groove right there that this part on the safety will go into. So now that we got the trigger guard, the safety, the hammer, as well as that bottom spring into there, we're ready to go ahead and drive a pin back in. You notice one side of this pin is raised a little bit there. That's the one that will start on the bigger side of it there over here. Gonna just drive it in opposite of what we originally did. Should be able to pop that right into there. Should pop in pretty easy this time because you don't have any pressure up against it. Alright, these pieces, pretty simple right there. You notice that this has one side that has a little window on it. That window goes up against that wall there where you don't see it. That has a spot right there that it goes into. I'm going to take the trigger. Once we have the trigger guard closed there, put it in where it's supposed to be. Go ahead and stick that right there. Line it up with the hole. Pretend that it's hinged there. I'm going to put that together, and then we'll just grab it on both ends there. Push that together until it goes into place there. Takes a lot of force. Then you can get the pin in there. As soon as you get the pin most of the way in, you'll feel it catch. So it's not going anywhere now, but go ahead and keep your thumb up against it. Now what we're going to have to do is put a little bit of pressure on this and then bang down on that with a screwdriver or something. And there you go. Now it's back together. We should be able to test that it functions. We can snap that into there. Grab this again, pull the trigger. That will go back nice and neatly. And that's got that back together. So in all the chaos with my camera dying, I ended up missing the reassembly of the front end of the rifle. It's basically slide the handguard back on, slide on the gas cylinder. The gas cylinder has slots on it that line up with the grooves on the barrel that will force it to go on the proper orientation. You can then thread the cap on. The cap will thread past the point that it's supposed to, so you'll need to turn it back about a quarter of a thread to line up. And then you simply thread the gas plug in with your screwdriver or other tool. Okay, so now to get the bolt back in, we're going to look at the bottom here where we've got kind of these weird little cuts on it here. Those cuts will line up with the bolt here and allow you to drop it back into place when you line it up right. And basically just put it in at an angle like that, drop it through, and she'll go into place. Then it's a matter of putting the op rod back in. The op rod will slide in like so. Then this piece here will line up with that same cut we had there. You put it here to grab the bolt first, drop it into there. It goes into place, and now it's in there. Brings the bolt back and forward, and you see it rotate the bolt like it's supposed to. We'll slide that all the way forward. Now we're going to have to start putting these other pieces back in. We're going to take our follower, going to take it in that orientation right there, and we're going to drop it into that groove right there. Next, we take this piece. These little notches right there line up right into there. This piece has a hook on it right here, which lines up with a piece that sticks out there that is attached to the clip ejector there. We got to make sure that this piece goes under that little spot on the side of the receiver right there. It will go under that. It will rest on top of the other. So when you take this and push this here, you'll see the clip ejector right here on the side wiggle. We're going to take this piece oriented just like this. So we're going to take this piece right here, hold it at the side. It'll go through there and in. It then goes down into here where it will line up with the grooves there on that and go into there. Then this piece will drop into the holes right there and line up with everything else. Now that we know that we have this going right, we're going to take our pin, we're going to drive it in from this side here with the big end of it over on this side. It should go right into there and push in. Now we can take this guy and put it in. And it's in place now. So now we can flip it over. We can see that that will go back like it's supposed to. When we push the follower, it goes forward. It'll basically slide in this way. It goes in there. Then this pins up to it. We flip it over. We're going to take our trigger assembly. Make sure that we have this piece open on it there. This slides in just like that. That closes down and latches into place, and it all holds together solidly. Once again, that opens and closes. When we pull the trigger, it dry fires like it's supposed to. Let's see what happens here. Looks like she works to me. So if you enjoyed this video, you can be sure to give it a thumbs up and a like. You can comment on it and leave your thoughts about it on there, or ask any questions that you have. You can also subscribe to my channel. Make sure that you don't miss any of the videos that I post.